Meanwhile, Texas has requested 5 mobile morgues from the federal government in anticipation of a climbing death toll from the current surge in COVID cases. NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen joins us now with the latest. John, thanks for being with us. You know, I'm kind of getting whiplash here. I mean, how does this latest move in Texas square with the governor's ban on vaccination and mask mandates?
I think one results from the other. The governor's basically told Texans not to protect themselves with masks and vaccines, or at least suggested that it's all right with them if they don't do that, and has created a message that creates permission to not protect themselves. And as a result, you're seeing Texas state health officials and the federal government coordinating to put these refrigerated trailers in place. Basically, Texas is saying it anticipates that it won't have enough cold storage to keep all the dead bodies.
And I need to really pause here for our viewers to really understand. There was an image that we just played on the screen that showed what one of those trailers looked like. I mean, we saw that here in New York City when the pandemic was at its worst. We're literally talking about physical moving morgues to put bodies in because of COVID, a virus that there is currently a vaccine for. So is this sort of an acknowledgement in any way, John, that these policies are making the pandemic worse?
It's certainly not a real acknowledgement from the governor's office in that if they felt like the policies were making COVID worse, they presumably would try to remove them. But I do think that there is an acknowledgement that more people are going to die as a result of not protecting Texans from this terrible disease. Now, the governor is doing some other things to try to combat it. But, you know, to your point, it's worth pausing and saying we're putting human bodies in cold storage, and we're doing that again. And I think for most Americans, it's been a long time since they've seen these kinds of images. They're just brutal and harrowing. And you know, when people in the emergency management space, you know, this is the sort of tip-off that things are getting worse.
Yeah, and I think to your point, it's important we don't get desensitized to these images, because many of those very doctors working in the emergency rooms would say these images are largely preventable, right, for people if they take the vaccine. So what else is Texas putting in place to try to really prevent this worst case scenario from the spike in COVID infections that we've heard experts federally say that we anticipate will happen?
Governor Greg Abbott is very high on the Regeneron drug, the monoclonal antibodies that can be given to try to help people who have less severe cases of COVID to try to prevent hospitalization.
All right. John Allen for us there. John, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Morgan.